Welcome to Sports Interrogation. Our topic tonight is online table tennis forums and the people you will find posting inside them.
Please note that tonight's program is full of cheap shots, so if you are easily offended you might want to change channels now.
As a table tennis fan, you might imagine that table tennis forums are filled with people just like you, enthusiasts who love discussing everything about ping pong. After all, the people you meet at clubs and tournaments are all very nice. Surely the forums are just the same? But be careful, Sports Interrogation's Lucy Tyler reports that it's a jungle out there.
Thank you, Paul. As a female table tennis player, I've spent many years undercover on various table tennis forums around the world. Tonight I'll highlight the many different types of forum members I've discovered in the wild.
Like the song says, who are the people in your neighborhood? In your neighborhood? In your neighborhood? So who are the people in your neighborhood? The people that you meet each day.
Let's begin with one of the most common of the various species that inhabit table tennis forums, the equipment junkie. Each equipment junkie is convinced that his one true rubber is out there somewhere, and he is determined to try every rubber until he finds it. Equipment junkies are generally harmless and quite welcoming to new forum members, since they have already asked everybody else about what rubbers to use.
Training drills and practice? Ain't nobody got time for that. I'm too busy changing my rubbers to do any of that stuff. Hey, is that a new rubber I see on the Butterfly website? Gotta go.
In keeping with the warm and fuzzy theme, one of the cutest forum members by far is the returning player. This is generally somebody who hasn't played since before the invention of the internet, who has hit middle age and is now looking to get back into the sport for some exercise.
Hi everyone. I used to use Shriver and Mark V. What are the best rubbers these days? And what's the deal with these 11-point games and bigger balls?
It's table tennis, but not as you know it. The rubbers are fast, the blades are faster, the rallies are short, and the balls are plastic. But the umpires are still blind. Now that we've looked at the more benign forum members, it's time to lift the lid on some of the more harmful species out there. We'll start with the merely annoying and finish up with those members that can destroy a forum in mere days if left unchecked. To begin with, there is the 1500 level expert. This forum member suffers from delusions of adequacy, and unfortunately all the rest of us must suffer right along with him. He can barely play a forehand loop, but he knows more about the game than any pro. He certainly knows more about table tennis than any of the 2,300 level players who post on the forum.
Look, it's simple. All you have to do is play crisscross blocks and you will be invincible. How can you idiots not understand this simple concept? Yeah, sure. Whatever you say.
Then there is the junk rubber hater. This species is often closely related to the 1500 level expert, and occasionally interbreeds with the deadly forum troll, who we will look at later in the program. Junk rubber haters are found in all environments and age groups, but can most often be seen congregating around bicycle repair stores fighting over small tubes of liquid.
Junk rubber players have no skill, it's just the rubber winning points for them. I don't want to have to think about what I'm doing, I just like putting heavy topspin on the ball.
Another forum member who is more irritating than dangerous is the excessive quoter. This is the person who quotes the whole huge previous post, just to add a +1 or I agree underneath, requires frequent beatings with a keyboard from forum moderators to prevent constant outbreaks.
Another forum member who is more irritating than dangerous is the excessive quoter. This is the person who quotes the whole huge previous post, just to add a +1 or I agree underneath. Requires frequent beatings with a keyboard from forum moderators to prevent constant outbreaks. +1.
A close relation to the excessive quoter is the guy with the inflated signature that lists all the rackets he has ever used. Like the peacock, he believes that he will attract attention and adulation with his dazzling display of equipment, and like a serial exhibitionist, he thinks that everybody wants to see his equipment over and over again.
Hey, bigger is better, right?
Then there is the guy with secret access to top-level national equipment that is normally reserved for pro players. This species is hard to eradicate or prove incorrect if they are lying. They are hated for being annoying, while if they are telling the truth, they are hated by jealous forum members for being smug about it.
I know he has those Chinese national team H3 rubbers hidden somewhere, but where?
Hee hee. I put them where no man or woman has ever dared to go.
Another foreign pest is the old-timer, who believes that table tennis was better back in the days before sponge rubber.
Things were much better when everybody used clubs and a rock. It takes true skill to play with wood.
One of the most hard to eradicate conversation killers is the soapbox guy, or as he is more commonly known, the thread hijacker, who is often a variant of the old-timer. This specimen invades any discussion and turns it into another opportunity to discuss his pet peeve.
I think that the new Tenergy 80 rubber is a good compromise between Tenergy 05 and Tenergy 64. What do you think?
Tenergy schmenergy. Real men use hawk blades and Leyland rubbers. Modern players using hardbat wouldn't stand a chance against Marty Reisman's off-the-bounce forehand drive.
The necromancer is the opposite of the thread hijacker. Instead of killing conversations, he resurrects dead and buried threads.
I think Waldner has a good chance to win the Sydney Olympics this year.
This thread is only mostly dead. Time to bring it back. I think Waldner would have beaten Khan if he served shorter. Ha 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 ha. It's alive.
Before we move on to the truly nasty forum members, we have one more relatively harmless species who is more irritating than poison ivy, the table tennis physicist, or his close cousin, the table tennis engineer. These are people who can explain the Magnus effect on the ball in excruciating detail in theory, but who usually can't apply any actual spin on the ball in reality.
If you apply tangential force to match the existing RPMs on the ball, but in an equal and opposite direction, then the COR will produce lift sufficient to get the ball over the net, while gravity and angular velocity will bring the ball down onto the table. It's not rocket science, you idiots.
Let's finish our look at those unwanted forum members with a warning about the apex predator of table tennis forums, the troll. The troll delights in starting flame wars between other forum members, and filling up forums with meaningless rubbish. Whatever you do, do not feed the trolls, or else you may emerge many days later missing your sanity and self-esteem and with a bad case of RSI from typing logical replies to nonsensical arguments. Trolls come in several noxious varieties, and have a nasty habit of popping up again in different locations after you thought they were long gone, kind of like the table tennis forum equivalent of herpes.
Are you kidding me? Ma Long will never be good enough to tie Janove Waldner's shoelaces. Hee hee. That ought to get things started. Asbestos underwear on. Let the flame wars begin.
You'll never be able to understand the game like I do, son. I'm the world's greatest athlete. And I'm a dipstick. I mean, stick and dip.
All you loopers are robo-Nazis, while you long pip players are spineless cowards. I am the unknown poster. You'll never guess my secret identity. Looks like it's time for another forum clean-out.
While there are many irritating and dangerous forum members lurking in the wilds of the internet, there are also some positive members to be found in small numbers and in isolated communities. Let's now examine these forum members, many of whom are on the endangered species list. The most common of these members is the valuable contributor, who always adds something useful to the conversation, whether it is a tip, tactic, a cool video, or even a funny comment. Irritating forum members often pretend to be this type in order to lure innocent new posters into ambushes.
Check out this cool Ma Long training video. It's got a great example of how to play the backhand banana flick.
Less frequently seen in the wild is the moderator. Mods are responsible for keeping discussions civil. and the forums free of offensive language, flame wars and spam. Possessing the thick skin of a rhinoceros, the memory of an elephant and the patience of a cent, they are the natural enemy of trolls and are generally claimed to be biased by people on both sides of an argument.
I'm thinking of giving up moderating and going into something easier and less stressful, like air traffic control.
Next on the list is the female table tennis player. This rare species is a bit like unicorns. There are claims that they exist, but no reliable confirmed sightings. Unlike unicorns, they don't seem attracted by virgins. Otherwise, you would probably see a lot more of them in most forums.
Join a table tennis forum full of geeks, nerds and basement dwellers who spend their time drooling over the attractiveness of female pro players? Just no.
Finally, even rarer than female players is the actual pro player, who has been hunted near to extinction. Unfortunately, when trapped and brought into forum captivity, they don't usually survive long, due to a diet of excessive stupidity supplied by other forum members.
I recommend getting some coaching to help you learn to play advanced strokes like the loop, so you don't pick up bad habits.
I don't need coaching. I've watched Ma Long looping on YouTube and I'm copying him. Once I find the right rubber to go with my super duper extreme speed blade, I'll be unstoppable.
Yeah. Right. I think I'd better get back to training at the Werner Schlager Academy. Gotta go.
Yeah, you need to improve your forehand. It's a bit weak.
As you can see, table tennis forums contain a wide diversity of interesting characters. Keep this guide in mind when you venture into the wilderness, and you will be well prepared to face the perils and posters within. This is Lucy Tyler, signing off for Sports Interrogation.
Thanks, Lucy. Join us next week on Sports Interrogation, where we examine the topic: is the Chinese table tennis system the equivalent of third world sweatshops? If so, should China be applauded or abhorred for their world dominance?